You know, back in the day when MySpace was a thing, I remember as a kid saying like, "Oh, she removed me from her top 8." Like, it was like, "Oh, we beefing now." Like, okay, like.
What's up, everybody? It's your girl KP, and we are on KP on the Mic, my podcast. I am here with my two good friends, Shawnette and Yai.
My name is Janice Burgos. I also go by Yai. I am a marketing manager for a big tech company, and so I love to do marketing. You can find me at Life with Yai on Instagram.
Hello everyone, my name is Shawnette Stokes. I'm the managing partner at Stokes Law Group. You can check me out on Stokes Law Group on Instagram at Stokes Law Group.
She is my attorney, y'all, and I'm talking about y'all got businesses,
Yes.
trademarks,
Yes,
okay?
Yes.
And she drops a lot of gems on Instagram.
Make sure you follow her,
Yeah.
especially if you own a business or you're looking to own a business. She is going to tell you everything you need to actually own it. So we'll jump right into it. We're going to talk about self-love and awareness. Before anything, what does self-love mean to you?
Self-love means to me putting yourself first and not in a ego-based way, and just you want to make sure that you are prioritizing your own needs, because you are unable to do that if you can't pour from an empty cup, essentially.
Exactly.
So that's what that means.
And what does it mean to you?
For me, I think that there can be a lot of definitions for self-love. A lot of people associate actions or things with self-love, but for me, I think it means loving all parts of yourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Like you talk about the light and the shadow, right? And it's like the good things about ourselves, the things that we're really great at. And then you have our shadow aspect, and it's the things that we're working on or the things that we've been through, or some of the pain or, triggers that lie within us. And I think that self-love is really making peace with all parts of yourself and really learning to love both the light and the dark.
So for you guys, would you agree that self-love, self-awareness, and like worthiness all kind of tie into the same thing?
Absolutely.
And you can't have one without the other.
Absolutely.
I think for me, self-love is taking full ownership of me.
Yes.
Taking full ownership of everything that I am, who I intend to be, and what I want to be kind of perceived as and projected as, I think that we kind of control a lot of that. And I think the issues that we have as women, especially like in entrepreneurship, is we try to find validation based on success.
Yes.
And we're correlating self-love with how successful we are as entrepreneurs. And it's like, wait, these are two separate things. And I think that's a misconception that we kind of, as entrepreneurs, kind of put on ourselves, and a pressure that we put on ourselves. So when we're recognizing that we are compromising parts of our worthiness, self-love in friendships, relationships, we just really don't have a full understanding of this does not coincide with this. This only comes after this,
Right.
So we'll start with talking about entrepreneurship and self-awareness in entrepreneurship. For me, it took a little while for me to understand what my role was and how I was going to be perceived by everybody. Does everybody like me? No. Do I care? No. But that comes with self-awareness and self-love.
Yeah.
Like,
You have to
I'm not made for everybody,
Right.
So I feel like we need to, as entrepreneurs in business, we need to say, okay, self-love warrants boundaries.
Yes.
Self-awareness warrants boundaries. So how would you say in entrepreneurship that you've created these safe boundaries where you can not cause like mental stress on yourself or anything like that? So how would you say you do that?
I always ask myself a question: am I abandoning myself? So the premise is self-abandonment. If I am stepping away from what I actually truly want and the vision I have set for myself, then I'm abandoning my own needs.
Right.
So that is the bar that I set. And even in my business, if it is, say, a case that I don't think that is in my zone of genius, I would be abandoning my own needs by accepting that case within my firm. So as an entrepreneur, I need to be doing things that makes me feel good.
Right.
And I refuse to do anything outside of that.
Right.
So that's important to me.
Right. So for me, I actually have like such a different just perspective and experience because I work for big tech, like I work for large corporations, and for me, I've had to struggle with someone telling me my worth. Someone telling me what I deserve to get paid, someone telling me what my bonuses deserve to be, someone telling me via like a performance report, like how I perform. And, before, when I made that 6-figure jump or that big 6-figure leap, I increased my salary by over 150% in the last 3 years.
Right.
And it wasn't until I started breaking down those limitations and those barriers of allowing someone to tell me what I was worth that I was able to actually have the confidence and courage in myself to ask for more. And when I started to break down those barriers of, they say I'm worth, let's say it's $75K. I don't have to believe that that's what I'm worth. I can believe that I'm worth more. And I think once I started doing that for myself, the promotions, the money, I tell people, because entrepreneurship is not for everyone. I own side businesses. You guys know that. So I have dipped into entrepreneurship, but I truly believe that women can be paid what they're worth no matter where they are. It starts with the belief, and it starts with the mindset of being an abundant-minded person.
Right.
So, if you're listening to this and you're like, I'm not an entrepreneur yet, or I'm not where I want to be, like, start breaking those barriers now. Get into that spirit of abundance now, of I am worthy of this amount of money. I am worthy of wealth. And you will start to see it manifest, whether you are an entrepreneur or in the corporate world.
Right. No, I worked in the corporate world too for Ideal Image, which is like the nation's leading cosmetic medical procedures. And I literally walked into their office and I said, I'm going to be the best salesperson that you have ever met in your entire life. You will remember me after I leave here. I'm only going to be here for 2 years though, because my God told me, you got me for 24 months. And literally, there were people that were working alongside me that were content with 75,000, 80,000. And before COVID, that was like really good money, before everything we're going on now. So for me, I was like, yeah, I'm making more than that, And I went out there, and I think you have to prove it too. Don't just walk into somebody's office and be like, hey, I'm worth this much, because I need to see the proof behind the pudding. Just be careful what you ask for sometimes. But I knew I'm going to put in this work for this amount of time. Then I got promoted to sales strategy training. So I was flying out training sales associates and things like that. And then when it came time for me to fully take on the position, because I had to basically interview and show you that I can get these people's numbers up. Then I said, okay, I showed you enough. Okay, I showed you enough to show you my value. I'm not giving you my worth. I'm going to show you what my value is here. I'm not going to give you all my knowledge, because with knowledge comes power. I'm not going to give you the power over me. So I said, okay, I'm going to show you this. We'll get here. And then when they presented it to me, I said, okay, well, now I'm going to present to you what I'm worth. And I need a contract for $125,000, and then I need my bonuses, and I need this, and I need that, because I've already showed you what I can do. So I think it's also that belief in yourself. Like, set that goal. Like, people don't set goals. Set the goal. Write it down. Make it plain.
Because most people don't believe that they're worth it to begin with.
They don't think it's realistic.
Is important.
But it is. It very much is. So you can take it in corporate America. You can take it in entrepreneurship. Setting those, goals and setting your expectations on yourself will help you to begin to develop self-worth and self-awareness and self-love in every aspect of your life. So for me, we'll jump to friendships. Like, friendships are big to me because I have like a core group of people that have been my friends for over a decade. Some of them 25 years. Like, I think my sister, Gianna, she's been on the show. The only person I know longer than her is my sister, and that's my blood. But, for me, it's like, in your friendships too, people don't realize you can lose yourself in your friendships. So I'm a big believer in I am not going to become your source.
Yes.
So I am not your therapist. So I am not here to talk to you all the time. I'm going to give you your advice. I am not a yes man.
Yeah.
Do
That's
not
okay.
come to me if you want to hear something
Right.
that you want to hear that I do not agree with, because I'm going to tell you, no, no, sis, no, you tripping, you know. And I'm going to, but I am that friend that is going to make you see your worth.
Yes.
But
That's
I'm
right.
not going to continuously do that for you, because now I've become your source.
Yeah.
Now when you feel depleted, you're coming to me and you're taking from me and my energy to fulfill yours, and I can't be that for you. And people don't realize that when you become their source, you take on their demons.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay? So if you're very insecure and
Trauma bond. You start
yeah,
to trauma
yeah,
bond.
and I ain't got no drama, honey. I'm happy and healed. So you got to come, my friendships, relationship, you got to come happy and healed, baby, because we're
Yeah.
going to be living
Yeah.
our best life. Like, I don't want that toxicity around me,
Right.
you know? And I think as women, we often find ourselves being nurturers
Oh yeah.
in
Yeah,
not just our
absolutely.
relationships,
Yes. And
but our
everybody.
friendships,
family.
businesses, family. And it's like, we feel like we're not allowed to set those boundaries. I'm big on boundaries. Like, I'm big on setting a boundary that is safe for me
Mhm.
Right.
to be at peace.
Yep.
Right.
And you're allowed to do that. And I think we kind of feel like, dang, you know, I don't want her to think I'm a bad friend because
Right,
I don't want to
exactly.
hear about her boyfriend problems no more. Sis, get you a new man. Get you a new one, because they's out
Find
here.
a solution, a new man or a solution.
Yeah,
Like-
solution-based thinking
Yes.
should be the goal in every
Right.
conversation
Right.
with your friends as well.
Right. And I think too, like, that self-awareness in your friendship. Like,
Mhm.
in your friends, like, do we share the same like mind? Do we share the same common bonds? You know, like, I don't want to be friends with people that I feel like you're constantly like, oh, KP, you're this, you're that, you're this. Like,
Yeah.
no, you're that too,
You-
girl.
you
like,
have to
you're that
have-
too.
You have to have like a set of just like moral values or pillars like that you carry on into your relationship. So for me, it sounds crazy to say, but I do evaluate my friendships.
Yeah,
like,
right.
and I evaluate my friendships on a few things. I evaluate my friendships based off of like, are you living in your purpose?
Mm.
Like, are you settling or are you living in your purpose? Are you walking in your purpose? 2, spirituality. What is your moral, spiritual foundation? Because when you are not anchored, let me tell you, you will have, those people are the ones that will hurt you, because hurt people,
Absolutely.
and people who stay hurt oftentimes do not have that connection to source, do not
Right.
have that, just that moral compass, right?
Yeah.
Of this is wrong. And I evaluate them on like, are you financially successful? Because people who are not financially successful, and don't get me wrong, I don't put a price tag on my friends, but if you are struggling and broke, I am going to be struggling and broke with you.
Right.
Or
mindset.
I am going to be trying to carry you along.
Mhm.
And then you run into the envy.
Yep,
So
Yeah.
now
exactly.
you're envious because I'm spending money at Louis Vuitton and
Right.
you are just walking with me in the mall.
Yep.
Right.
And
We-
they question your purchases.
Right.
Yeah. And then
And
you
it-
have to dull yourself down,
Right.
dim your own light to make someone else feel better.
And I
Because
don't
it's
feel like
envy.
we should have to do that.
Absolutely.
And that's where, like, you have to really know who you are. And I think, too, like, a lot of that comes in solitude.
yes.
And a lot
Yes,
of the
very much
issues
so.
that we have in relationships is because you never spend time in solitude.
Yep.
How can you know yourself? How can you afford someone love when you don't know how to self-love?
Mhm.
Like, when
That's
you
so
don't
good.
value yourself, or
That's
you
so
don't say to yourself, I'm beautiful, I'm smart, I'm worthy, I'm ambitious. Like, if I don't feel that about me, how can I love somebody?
Yeah.
Right.
Or expect them to feel those things about you. Expect your friends, men,
Right.
employers to see something in you that you don't see in
Yes.
yourself. That's
Another
super
thing
important.
is that we don't show up for ourselves often, but we expect other people to show up for us.
Right.
That's good.
And you have to set the standard with your own self.
Right.
Mhm.
Like, I don't need a crowd to clap for me because I'm
Right.
like,
Clap for yourself.
for myself. You know,
Exactly.
but that comes with self-love and self-awareness. And I honestly feel like in past relationships, I've compromised myself because I was in one relationship, I was in another. Then I was 9 years single.
Yeah.
And now I got to the point where I'm like, shit, I don't know if I even want.
I'm going
like,
on 3 years.
You got
and
what?
I'm like,
Okay,
real
uh-huh.
I've done a lot of things in these 3 years.
And I'm like, this sounds like an issue. So I think solitude, like
Yeah.
women and men, because men often, everything is visual for them. So they don't feel the need to be self-aware of who they are. So women and men need to practice, and I was 2 years celibate. Like, didn't do nothing. So, like, that really helped me get grounded on who I was, what my expectations were going to be. And I think, too, like, we can speak to men and say, do you really have self-love if you know she's a bum and you choose to deal with her, but you know you really want somebody that's a boss?
Right.
You are compromising your own self-love and self-awareness for that. And she ain't even on your level. That's what most of them are doing now.
Yeah.
But it's like,
it's convenience.
Right.
So is convenience truly self-love? Because so many people want to say peace, peace, peace. But the reality thing is that this club, this like empire that you created, it wasn't always peace.
right.
You worked hard. You put in effort for the things that you want.
Right.
And relationships and friendships all require the same. It's just at what point do you not abandon yourself, you know? And at what point do you kind of give and stop to make sure that that person is also putting in the same amount of effort to prove that you love and respect yourself, and I also love and respect myself, and now we're going to try to come together and make this work.
Right. And I think a lot of it ties too into like always going back to social media. Like social media, the Bible says money is the root of all evil. They need to just put a little,
Social media.
side note in there and say social media is the root of all evil.
Right.
Because we live in this world of superficiality. We live in this world of fake pretense.
Yes.
So now we have fake self-love, fake self-awareness, because my comparison of how I feel about my worth is compared to this person I don't even know. She's more worthy of getting what she has in life because she has a G-Wagon or she has this. Meanwhile, it's probably rented for a photograph.
But can I challenge you on something? Because this is coming from the girl who works.
Yeah.
You know where I work.
Mm-hmm.
Is it social media, or is it now people have an outlet for their insecurities and their projections and their demons? Because that's different. Because these women, social media is not making you go and Photoshop yourself and give you double D's and a 24-inch waist. That's someone's insecurities doing that. And so social media is just the channel to allow both the light, which is connection, which is reach, which is growth, which is revenue for your business, and then
right.
your audience.
But the audience is fake.
Right, exactly.
These are not my real audience. They don't. Half of them that follow you probably don't even like you.
They like your fake booty.
Yeah, like
on Instagram.
It's like a BBL.
Yep.
It's still my fat, but it wasn't really there like that.
A little bit.
Yeah.
So it's like that. This is still my reality,
Right.
but this isn't really. It's not really where it's supposed to be at.
Right.
Does that make sense?
No, I agree that there is a level of just like it's a mirage, right? It looks pretty on the inside, and you start walking to it and you're like, oh wait, like that's not real, like that's not really there.
So why not, because it's a platform, a huge platform that is globally used, do we not say, or does this platform not say, because you are very aware of mental illness and mental health, why not say, you know what, you must be this age. You got to be 17 to get in a rated R movie, but you can be 10 to have Instagram.
But weren't they trying to take away filters in one state? They were like trying to make it illegal to not use filters on social media.
Yeah, there's a lot, going on in the social media industry that I think big social media tech companies are doing. You know, one thing is hiring, you know, lawyers. Now all these social media platforms and corporations have entire legal teams. They have entire mental health teams, like licensed psychologists, PhDs, doctors that have nothing to do with tech. Like they are actual medical professionals now weighing in on these decisions. But I think, remember, like all technology, like the internet, like the cell phone, people didn't know what it was going to be until it happened.
Right.
So now you got to go and you got to play cleanup on what is now the future of our world. And so I think, you know, like we talk about, you know, one of the social media companies, Instagram, just implemented parental control on their devices, to where now if you're a parent, you can actually connect your profile with your child's profile. So I know you have kids, like, so
they don't have social media.
Yeah, but
Like, no, absolutely.
He's about to be 17, and I finally have got him to a place where I'll ask him about it,
Yeah.
and he'll be like, "Why do I want that?"
Oh,
But that's
good.
self-awareness.
that's
And
kudos to
teaching.
you.
See?
That,
Yeah,
you
that's
taught him
teaching.
that,
You don't
though.
need Facebook. You don't need Snapchat, because these children, even women and men, and I've said before, some are not emotionally stable to understand this is
absolutely.
fake.
No one's
So
I
you-
wouldn't have. I wouldn't have, because I struggled with MySpace, and I was already,
Yeah.
you know, a junior, senior in high school. But what I was gonna say is, now you have that parental control, like you do on TV and cable, where you can actually limit their time spent on the social app, and it is going to cut them off. You can monitor where they're going, what pages they're following, what their engagement is like. And so, to our point, I think it is still important to be an involved parent or involved loved
Yes,
one, even
that's
if you have,
huge.
nieces, nephews. And then second, it is holding these companies like accountable and doing exactly that. We put pressure on these social media
Right.
companies to do these things. They are doing these things because of the lawsuits, because of the backlash, because of the pressure. And what we're seeing now, there was a little girl who died from a TikTok challenge not too long ago. She was 10 years old, and her parents literally said, I had no idea what she
Wow.
was doing in her room on her phone.
Wow.
So it's what do we do to instill the right amount of self-love, confidence, and awareness to say, like, this is not who I am.
And that you don't need the public to feed
validate
your ego
that.
or validate you at all.
So we do social media for likes, engagement, things like that. So
Yeah.
if it's based on likes, and this girl gets 150,000 followers and she's got 10,000 likes, and this girl who's actually fulfilling purpose
Right.
gets 100, she's not gonna feel the same way that this person is
Right.
gonna feel, because you created a platform where this means more than this.
The society has programmed us to feel
Right.
that way about likes and Instagram followers. That's your
Right.
social capital.
Because the
That's
social
what
media
you- yeah.
companies have also taken away that count. So you can
Yes,
put
they
it to
did.
where you hide it and not
Some
see
of
it.
So why
Yeah.
don't the social media companies take away the ability to, like, okay, she's getting paid to post this thong picture in this particular bathing suit. Like, why don't you say, you know what? They're going to have to run that through us before they can get to you.
But Playboy existed before
It
social
sure
media.
did.
And guess
But-
what? They was getting
They had
paid to be
reality
on
TV
with a thong on a magazine cover.
Mhm.
But
Got
not everybody
sponsorship
had the
deals.
accessibility
That's
to
true.
Playboy.
That's true.
The way that you can download on your phone
Yeah.
and app.
It's not
Things
accessible.
have
So-
changed for sure.
Why not say, you know what? We're no longer going to glorify
Yeah.
unless you actually have we've got blue check people. Like, why doesn't social media go through these blue checks and be like, you know what?
You don't deserve it.
You don't really deserve this, because we gave you a platform to be verified for purpose.
Mhm.
Right.
This is not purpose.
Yeah. Right.
So why don't they go through and say, now we're going to take some of these away? I mean,
Right.
you guys give high school athletes
Yeah.
like verifications.
Right.
They, things like that. You
I
got,
know.
Cash
Well-
App verifies you now.
Yeah.
You got a blue
Twitter.
check. Twitter verifies
Everyone.
you.
Everyone
wow.
is on this verification because what was supposed to be to identify people as a public figure, like actors
Right.
and the president, the vice president, people like that, then started becoming a social status.
Right.
And so now everyone caught on to this like social status, and so now everyone's doing it, and so it's really,
Because I see some blue checks and I be like, well, I ain't never seen a girl go to work. What do you do?
listen, they ain't checking her work schedule. They
They
asking for
Then what
payers.
verifies you?
Followers.
What
That's all that
verifies
matters.
you,
It's
though?
followers.
But you can buy them.
Yeah. Don't they check for like fake followers on social media?
Yeah, everybody
Yeah.
fake. Everybody's fake. We just live in a fake reality, and
Yeah.
I feel like even as mothers and sisters and daughters, like, how are we teaching younger youth? So I did this thing called You Deserve to Be Loved, where we streamed into 42 different schools in Hillsborough and Pinellas County, and it was 10,000 girls, middle school and high school. And we spoke to them about self-love, and I really touched on, like, everyone was like, oh, I find myself loving this, I find myself like loving this, but I really touched on, don't validate yourself in this fake world. Like, this is not real. And how do we come out as women, entrepreneurs, corporate America women, come out and say, like, baby girl, this is not,
Yeah.
like,
That's
we
so
have a duty and an obligation to do that. And I don't feel like we do that because we're so caught up in verifications
Yeah.
and likes and things like that.
That's really
And then
good.
we're asking mothers who are just as young as,
Yeah.
some others that are teaching their kid, they're on there shaking their butt, or
Oh,
they're
yeah.
on there doing this,
They're
and
making-
they're like,
the kids
they're-
are emulating that
Yeah,
too.
they're teaching their kids how to be.
or they're in the
Right.
TikTok with
TikTok's
you,
on
and you're
them.
like, girl,
Yeah.
you should not be doing that with your daughter.
But most kids get an iPad at least age 2 or some form of a tablet, so they have access to the internet already at a very early age. And I think that we need to have that discussion. How do we teach our children to not rely on technology so heavily?
Yeah.
Go outside. I know outside is not so safe,
Dangerous.
but, right, but there needs to
And
be
hot.
alternative, very much so, alternative ways to getting a child's attention, and not through the internet.
Yeah.
You know.
I think for me, what I appreciated, I didn't really have someone teaching me these things because it didn't exist, right? Like
Right.
when we were kids, this is all new. But I guess for me, what I try to do is, you both know this, I'm part of like a Latina sorority, and both in college and as an alumni, I've been very active in, my mentorship and hosting seminars and sessions, just to teach them and empower them. I think that the more you can empower another woman, especially a younger woman, it's so important. It's so important. The more that you can just empower young women and pour into them and pour just love and ideas and motivation and energy, I feel like the better that generation will be, because they're facing things that we did not have to face,
Right.
as a child. And so for me, it's kind of hard to say what I would do or what I needed, because I didn't have to go through the challenges that they're going through right now. And I remember, back in the day when MySpace was a thing, I remember as a kid saying like, "Oh, she removed me from her top 8."
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like, it was like, "Oh,
So
we
offended.
we
Yeah.
beefing now." Like, okay, like it's we're
Oh,
not
yeah,
gang
yeah.
no more.
Listen.
So it's so crazy. I look, and that was like when I was older, right? That's like me at 16, 17. These girls are going through that at like 10,
Yes.
12, 13. And so for me, I would just say, like, be involved in the young women in your lives, whether it be nephews, like your children. Like, the more you are involved, the more you are in touch with them, the more you allow them. Because here's the reality. I wasn't allowed to be real with my mom. I don't know how y'all, like,
Yeah.
I had a very traditional ethnic household. And it was, I didn't even have the sex talk. It was, you do that, you're not going
Right.
to heaven.
Yeah.
End of story. It was no
And
birds
don't
in
think
the
they
bees.
having them talks these days.
Yeah.
because
And so
Early
I
on,
think
too.
that how I want to approach, motherhood is being able to create safe spaces for my children to tell me things, because I'd rather go through that with you and we do what we got to do to figure this out than for you to figure it out on the streets or through social media or through TikTok or any other
But see,
platform.
the thing with that is, like, again, my child, neither one has social media or anything like that. My son's about to be 17. My friends' daughters all have it. And it's a completely different child that we're raising.
Absolutely.
Okay? Because, but I think too, like, I'm not your friend.
No, I definitely
I'm
don't
your
want to.
parent.
Right.
I definitely don't want to do that whole, like, what is it called? Like,
Bestie.
like, it's called like a name of parental, like, where you don't hit them, you don't do anything, like, you just like meditate with them. I'm not saying go that far,
Oh, I know what you mean.
but
Right. I know.
I'm saying is before I beat you, I'm going to give you the opportunity to have.
I'll whoop your ass up and down here.
Before I
Yeah.
tell your father what you did, I want you to still feel like at the end of the day, home is your safe
Yeah.
spot.
Yeah.
Like, these women
But I think
shouldn't be running to these boys' cars and homes.
But
They
I
should
think that
feel
also
safe
comes
at
with
home.
boundaries. Like, I'm not your friend.
Mhm.
I am your mother.
Right.
Your friends do not pay for your lights to be on.
Right.
Your friends do not pay for your cell phone. I do.
Right.
So there's going to be a different level of respect.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we get caught up again with where mothers are not aware of the actual power that they have.
Oh,
Because
for
you're
sure.
too busy trying to create a safe space
Right.
for your child to talk. So you're
Right.
thinking, let me be your friend, because then you'll talk to me like, they still lying.
I'm
They
gonna be
still not
honest.
telling you the
I
truth.
You still have
I
to
was
be
a virgin
aware.
all through high school and college because I literally was scared.
Petrified.
My mom
Petrified.
crap out of
And
me
so
about that.
I will say that did work.
Yeah.
Yes. Because that
Job,
I think people
it gave what it needed to give.
and I
did not
do my business is the same. Like, people are be like, they'll see me like storming through or whatever, and they'll be like, oh, she on like blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But the thing is this, fear turns into respect. Okay?
Yeah.
They need to fear you in order to respect you.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately. So are you gonna pop their hand when they little? Yes, maybe. Maybe you don't. Maybe you like to talk and kumbaya and do all that. Whatever. But then when they get 16, I ain't gotta put my hands on you. Because you already know how I don't play.
Yeah. But
You know?
but discipline and boundaries also with self-love, because you still got to fill their cup even when they're pissing you
yes,
off. Because we're talking
absolutely.
about like really getting that confidence, because at the end of the day, yes, I was petrified, but my parents and specifically my father, like, he taught me, you don't ask a man, you ask me before you
Right.
ask another person for something.
Right.
You lack something, you come to me and I will give it to you, or I will help you
But
get
most
it.
are
you know?
raising
Into
kids
you,
by
though.
themselves.
Right.
Like, I'm a single mom. I don't have a man in my house, and I don't bring men in my
Right.
house like that. So the man that I do bring is going to help instill
Yes.
the characteristics, but I've already built the foundation.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I built that. So you can't come in and teach them self-awareness, self-love. I've already taught them that.
Right. Right.
You know what
But
I mean?
what also comes with respect is pouring into the child
Right.
too. When you speak highly, of
Yes.
your child and directly to them with love, then they got respect
Right.
you more,
Right.
right? So they appreciate that love, and they go
Yes.
into the world and they don't get it. So when they get it from you, they respect it so much.
Right.
Right. And then
100%.
with my son, I give him so much love, and like, I teach him about self-awareness, that like, he often, and you can do this because he's 16 and he's an Aquarius like you, so they're like very kind-hearted, genuine people.
Sweet baby.
He will be the person to tell you like, oh, you shouldn't think that about yourself.
Like
You're
that.
pretty,
I
you're
was like
this,
that,
you're
yeah.
that, or you're not dumb. Like, don't think
Yeah.
like that. Like, if you're going through mental health
But
issues,
he
he's the one.
learned that
Yeah,
from
he
you.
definitely.
Right.
Like, the
So that's what I'm
self-love
saying.
attaches
But
to him.
that comes with, and I think parents are so like, oh, it's just social media. No, I don't think you understand
Yeah.
how you are setting your child up
Mhm.
and creating mental stress, mental strain, and in some aspects, making them ill-equipped for reality.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
You are crippling your children by allowing them to be on these platforms
Yeah.
before they are emotionally aware of who they are.
Yes.
And that is my thing with
Right.
with big tech, and social media platforms is, why do they got to be 17 to get in a movie but 10 to get on a platform that's global?
I thought it was
Like-
13. It's not.
Why?
Is it?
Mhm.
And I just don't understand those kind of
Yeah.
things, because what you're not helping, you're just protecting your company from not catching backlash. You're not helping anyone out here when you change, if you change the age to 18. You know how many kids will
They
become,
fake their birthdays though.
but I'm saying, like, let's just say you have to have a parent's, like, information.
Mhm.
Let's say I have to link it to a credit card.
Mhm.
Ain't no 16,
No.
well, not many
Right.
have credit cards.
Right.
If they're not getting charged for anything, but you're now controlling that platform for them. You're controlling that. We do it for 2, 3, 4, 5-year-olds on YouTube.
Mhm.
YouTube does it.
Yeah.
But you have these global platforms where we're judged, ridiculed, persecuted. What is it?
Persecuted. Yeah.
Persecuted. Excuse me, that was like Casamigos in my throat. Where you're persecuted, but then the responsibility comes on me as a parent
As
to
a parent,
teach
yeah.
self-awareness. Like, bro, you literally opened my child up to whatever the world has.
Right.
You became a source for them.
Yeah.
So if you take that away, now you force your children to come back and talk to you.
Right.
Because when they get social media, they really do truly, and especially if they follow you, it's like, oh, that's my friend. Or you're going to hide me from your stories.
Yeah.
Or you're going to, then they start to develop these
Yeah,
sneaky
and
traits. They start
narrative,
to
right.
develop.
Their own narratives.
Right.
Yeah.
So I feel like as big tech firms, you're fully aware, but you protect yourself. And that is the issue. That's why I don't allow social media in my house for my children.
I think it's beautiful. That you
Because
don't.
I'm not your friend. I am teaching you how to be somebody in this world, and our children are not ready for that.
Right.
They're not.
Right.
No one as women, we compare ourselves to, dang, she got a big butt. Ooh, oh, when they're working out, don't tag your personal trainer, baby. Tag your doctor. We're always saying those things,
Yeah.
not because they're insecure, but because we're aware.
Right.
They're not there yet.
Right.
Look at these girls that are 18 years old getting lips and
It
Botox
starts early now.
and boobs and all that. That comes from the platform created in the world that they live in.
But do you
Yeah.
think it's just social media? What about television? Because we've seen,
Yeah.
you
Who
know,
watches
I mean, the
TV?
Latin
Who watches
community
TV?
has
Well,
been
think
getting
about it.
plastic surgery at 16,
Yeah.
16, 17, and 18
celebrities, children
for decades,
are
not
doing it.
from social media. So it's a culture, like, and I appreciate that you're bringing this to light and you're talking about it, and whoever's watching it, these are the types of, like, questions and topics that we should talk about, no matter how uncomfortable it is,
Right.
no matter, our different views on things. It's, there's light and there's a dark, and there's something beautiful to be said about, connection and technology, but there's something so scary about it that it is all of our responsibility to hold companies responsible and to push them to make platforms that are safe for our children. So I am, 100% supportive of the conversation and what we need to do as women to continue the narrative of building self-love.
So now we'll shift a little bit from the children and all that. We're going to shift to men. Okay. I'm
Bring it
single.
on, KP.
You single?
Single.
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 So no, we not coming from pain. Okay? we know self-awareness and self-love and
We've done the
self-worth.
work.
So I just don't dabble in everything.
Right.
Okay. When it comes to men, I love encountering men that feel like they're so self-aware and they have so much knowledge on women, and you're
I
like,
love it.
how you gonna tell me how to be a woman? Because I don't know how to be no man. You know?
Right.
They
But-
got a lot to say about women.
Oh, a lot. And they think they know women a lot. And we sometimes may think we know men a lot. But I may not know everything about a man, but I know me. We are encountering kind of a situation where men are not as self-aware as they proclaim to be.
I think that we are entering into a phase where we're at war as genders.
Yes.
And I think that a lot of people, not just men, but people in general, speak from a place of pain, and we tend to project it onto other people. And like you said, you need to be more self-aware, because if you were aware of truly your feelings, you would know that they were coming from inside and not from what other people are doing to you.
Right.
Because if you
That's a good point.
Right, because you can't sit in victim state always. So you have to realize, okay, so what am I bringing to the table that's contributing to these actions? Because it's always you. It starts with you.
Yeah.
And I think everyone, men and women, need to realize that in relationship, friendship, work, it applies to everything.
There's a quote that I love it so much, and it goes something along the lines of, how you perceive me is a reflection of you, and my reaction to that is an awareness of me.
Yes.
Right.
It is so good, because men, some men, they want a lot from you. But just like women, we want a lot from men, but we ask this of each other so early, like we're
Yeah,
getting
the
to know you, and
expectation.
it's like, what do you bring to the table? What value are you bringing? Like, first of all, I don't even know your mom's name.
Right.
So that's
Right.
first of all. And the fact that you're even asking that question, man, if you have to ask that question, that already tells you something is lacking in you, that you are looking for something. You are looking for a woman to prove to you.
Mm-hmm.
And if you truly stood in your power and in your worth and in your confidence, you wouldn't be worried about what the next woman's bringing to the table, because you would know what you want, and you would know if that woman is able to meet that as you continue to grow and deepen the relationship.
Right.
And so I feel like you can feel projection before you even,
Oh yeah.
like you can feel it energetically, and then you just keep your eyes open and you see that manifest. And here's a challenge for women. What do you do as a self-proclaimed self-love woman when a man does start to project that pain onto you? And how do you handle it?
I'm out, son.
Right. Because if you're staying there, you are now betraying yourself. And we've had this
Right.
conversation about self-betrayal and boundaries.
Right.
You are now crossing your own boundaries and self-betrayal by staying with someone who wants you to prove yourself to them.
Right.
And I think that with self-awareness also leads to discernment. You're able to
Yes.
discern what's not for you and what you should
That's
keep within
an
your,
important word.
awareness,
Yeah.
So that's pretty huge.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No, I'm telling you right now, I'm not proving nothing.
Absolutely.
I've
not.
already proved it to myself.
Right.
That's what matters the most to me, is proving it to myself.
My life is the proof.
Right.
You know
like,
what it was when you stepped to me, so why would you question my worth when I'm at the table?
right. If you feel like what's coming through on these platforms is not real, then don't talk to me.
Mm.
Okay?
Stay home.
If you feel like I need to justify this picture, or
Yeah.
I need to now, you want to see me in that picture, or you want to see that light, that's not,
Yeah.
I need you to come, like I always say, happy, healed, stable.
Mm.
And that doesn't mean I'm saying like, okay, you need to have all the money in the world.
Right.
No, you can't be broke, because broke is a mindset.
It
Right.
really is.
It really is.
And broke is
Y'all,
a lack of
let's talk that you are not man bashing.
You are
No.
When you say
So my
this,
mama thought I was man bashing. I'm not, mama. Listen, just let me explain, okay? When you, men or woman,
Mhm.
do not have yourself fully together,
Right.
you should not date,
Absolutely. not.
because you are not fully aware of who you are as an individual and what you can bring to that relationship.
And you're not walking in your purpose. 'Cause
No.
if you were walking in your purpose, you would be abundant.
So
Right.
men feel like fixers, and women enter relationships needing to be fixed, or thinking they do.
Mhm.
That's a lack of self-awareness. Because I'm not coming into anything saying, you need to pour into this
Right.
and fill me, and I'm going to pour into that and fill you.
Right.
I'm coming in and saying, before anything, we're friends. I want a partner. I
That's
don't want
good.
someone that is,
Yeah.
I gotta find my fulfillment in that purpose. I gotta
Yeah.
find my love in that
Right.
person and what they give to me. If that person doesn't tell me I love you today, I don't think I'm not gonna love myself any less.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, I'd be like, hey girl, I love you. You know?
Yeah.
But
That's a
that
good
comes
one.
with awareness.
Yeah. That's a good
But that neediness of I need this person to fulfill me,
one.
you're not aware.
Right.
You don't have that. You should not be entering relationships looking for fulfillment.
Yeah.
You should be entering relationships looking for your partner.
We were talking about
Looking
ego-based
for your
relationships.
counterpart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I say come happy, come healed, come stable, I mean mentally, emotionally,
Mm.
physically, spiritually
Yeah.
aligned. I want to align with you. I don't want you here because you think I'm projecting
Yeah.
pain and I got this and I ain't healed and now I'm like, oh, you're a narcissist, you're
Yeah.
this. Like, we're never gonna make it.
No.
We're never. And men,
Blame game.
I found being an alpha female, men often feel like, oh, she's got to be so tough because she's got pain, she's got this.
Mm.
And they try, men will often and women be very conscientious of this. And I don't think they are. I think as women, we kind of like, I don't really want to
Power
say
to it,
anything.
yeah.
I don't really want to do
We-
it because
we
I don't want
walk
to
on
upset him.
tiptoes, like,
No,
and
I'm
so-
not that one. I'm
No.
almost
Yeah.
like, excuse me?
Right.
What did
And
you say?
Can I be real? It took me a long time to learn that. Like,
Yeah.
I'm 34, and coming from a home where my mom was the more submissive parent because she was, in our early childhood years, she was a stay-at-home mom, and her role was to, cook and clean and take care of the kids. And that doesn't make her, not a strong woman. It's just that was her role at that time. And so that was really what was mirrored to me.
Mhm.
And I remember times where if my dad had a bad day, it was silence. You go to your room, you don't talk, you read, you do homework, and that was just how it was. And I found myself reenacting that in my relationships and being like a people pleaser and just always wanting to keep the peace. Like, maybe I shouldn't say this because of how it might make them feel or react. And I had to really learn how to like be self-aware and say like, where is this coming from? Where is
Yeah.
this unmet need coming from? Where is this fear coming from? This insecurity. And I had to learn to find my voice. And it wasn't until I was in my 30s, pretty much, like late 20s, like 30s. And just like even teaching that to women at an early age of like how to use your voice, in a respectful and a powerful way, I think is so important to like building that foundation of self-love, because my love and what I thought would be love for me was in the container of, in order to keep this love, I can't fuck it up. Like I can't make them mad. I can't
Right.
upset them.
Yeah.
I can't make them want to leave me. And I had to learn that no, like true love is loving yourself first and saying like, no, this is how I feel, or this is what I need. I'm not getting this. And however they react, that's on them.
Right.
Like
I'm not
that's
responsible
on
for
them.
that. That's how
Yeah.
I feel about. That's why I'm constantly preaching to people: stop being people's source.
Yeah.
Stop being the source. Because when you become the source, you take on their demons.
Yeah.
You take on their issues. You take on their problems. And I'm just not here for that.
Yeah.
Like I'm not. And so like I think that comes with being healed.
Yeah.
And that I think
Absolutely.
men find power in projecting fake pain on women and saying you're not healed.
Oof.
You're not this. And it's like,
Mhm.
what are you, sir?
Right.
I
What
had
are
a
you?
situation.
Let's talk about you.
Right.
Because you got
What do
so
you
much
need?
to say about me,
Mhm.
but you barely know me.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like, you
that's
barely
so good.
know me to say, and if you, for me, going through dark times in my life before is why I can confidently say I'm healed.
Right.
Because I don't have anything in my life that would ever take me back there.
Mhm.
So I know I'm healed.
That's good.
So not only do I know that I'm healed, I give testimony all the time. you don't give testimony for situations you still deal with internally.
Right.
No,
You
that's,
don't.
That's facts.
When people are going through mental health issues, they're not talking about it. They're internalizing. Because they're not healed.
They repeat the story too.
Right.
They like, and where you say the friends like to come to you and talk about my man cheating. Well, when you're repeating the story, you're still in victim state,
Yeah.
and you don't have a solution to your problems.
You
You're
a
not
volunteer now.
Right.
So I'm not,
healed.
I ain't got no time. But I think with men in relationships, I think they often find themselves feeling slightly insecure to those women that have self-awareness.
Okay, P, you're gonna love this one. So recently, I was dating someone, and they like did an accomplishment. They, and I got them a gift, and I got them like their favorite liquor and like their like favorite candy, and it was just like a gift out of love. It was fun,
Right.
Like for me, I gift out of fun. This person said, "I feel like you just did this to get validation."
Excuse me, sorry, what?
Mm.
And that's when we close the door.
Well, I feel like
I
you
was
said
just-
it because you wanted praise.
And yeah, and I was just
So
like,
don't say it.
it was just so it's like you said, like as being like an alpha woman, a woman with money, a woman with her own bag, like we have the luxury of being able to buy nice things not only for ourselves but people we love.
Right.
And so I find myself doing that, and then it's like you can see and feel when you're triggering someone's insecurity,
Yes,
because they don't even know
absolutely.
how to receive love.
Right.
They don't even know
Uh-huh.
how to receive your goodness, your gifts, and it's like, oh, okay.
And I think a lot of people need
This
to
is
really.
projection.
Yeah.
That was literally
That's a
the
literal
definition of
definition,
projection.
And
was
I
like,
think
oh,
for
okay.
me, like when I'm talking to somebody, I ask, how are you with your family? How are you with
That's
your
good.
mother? Because when you tell me how you are with your mom, I'm going to know how you're going to be here. If I hear you on the phone and it's, I love you, mom, like, okay, mom. Or if I hear like, oh my God, like you're, honey, we ain't gonna work.
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
Because when you get comfortable
family
with
is
me,
important.
that's
You ain't
when
about to
we
be talking to
tone
me
each
like
other
that, you
down.
know?
Right.
But that comes with like, I think men find power in the projection of downplaying a woman's self-awareness
That's
because they lack that same thing. Because men are bred to be providers.
Yeah.
We know this. The
Mhm.
expectation is set on them to be providers. Now they're in a world where women are providers
Killing
too.
it. Yeah.
Some making more than men at times. So they don't know how to compensate for that. So they feel attacked on their manhood
Yes.
because I'm aware of who I am.
Right. You don't
I'm
need that.
yeah.
Or they question your motive too, because here as women, right, not like making this all about like against men, but as women, we also have to, especially alpha women or, kind of successful women, we also have to still make that emotional safety for men, I think, because then they start to question your
Yes.
motive. Like, okay, well, she can do it all by herself, then why should with me? Like, you know what I'm
Because
saying?
I think they confuse
so-
an independent lifestyle with what's going to happen in the home.
That's
I am
good.
I am
That's
independent
good.
in meaning
Yeah.
I can provide my own lifestyle. I'm a
Mhm.
boss in every aspect of my life, but in my home I don't want to be
Because
that.
I find myself having to consciously say, like, okay, Chinese, smile, like, be feminine, be soft, and be all
What
these
does that
things.
mean?
But you're
Yeah.
compromising
Right.
Yeah.
your
This is
self-worth.
valid.
Because you see me walk through the
Yeah.
club and I have a mean mug like, don't talk to me. And they still want to talk to me. And I'd be like, sir, don't touch me. But that you're compromising your self-awareness because
That's
you're like, let me not do too much. You often feel like if I give too much of myself too soon,
Mhm.
they're going to think that, they're entitled to that.
I think I want to say something about softness. I think vulnerability is what most people are looking for,
That's
in
a
relationship.
good point. Yeah.
and that is how you can connect. We can't connect with the wall in front of us.
Right.
We have
That's
to
so
be vulnerable
good.
with one another. And I think that when you're operating in that space, then you're able to connect a little bit deeper than you were
That's
if you're
good.
like, oh, I'm too cool for that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
So you have to take a
that's
different
really good.
mindset.
And men find that alpha women, it's hard to be in relationships with alpha women because y'all don't know how to submit, y'all don't know this. Well, the thing, it's not that I don't know how to submit, it's that do you have the vision for me to submit to? Okay?
You want to submit. That's
And
the
I
thing.
want to submit. But I'm not going to submit that's to someone that continues to try to project things. And I don't, like, I had to explain to one of my good friends, like, words have power.
Oh, they
So
do.
I'm
much.
taking extreme offense to you saying that I am not healed or I am not this. Because
that's
you are
good.
trying to take me back.
And you're tearing
to
it
a
down.
place and
No,
you're trying to-
that's real.
Even though you're trying to say, no, I can see. No, you can't.
no, that's
It's because
real.
you didn't live with me back then. So you really don't know how broken I was.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you don't get the right to tell me I'm still 9 or 10 years later in that same place.
Right.
Ooh, that's
Because
good.
if I was still in that same place, I wouldn't be as successful as I am today.
Right.
I wouldn't walk with confidence that I do today.
That's so good.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I
that's,
think
that's
that
boundaries.
right,
Yeah.
and I think too, it's like you want me to be this nurturer, which I can be because I'm a mom.
yeah.
I nurture my children.
Right.
I am a good sister. I am a good daughter. I am a good friend. My friendships tell that. The way people that are
Right, your
in my
reputation.
inner circle or have gone to dinner with me or,
Mhm.
you know, are in my sections with me
Yeah.
and have come and talked business with me on FaceTime. You know who I am and where that comes from.
Right.
So I feel like men often try to level up one on you when it's like, don't try to take me back there because I'm going to kick your ass to the curb. Okay?
Exactly.
Now you're going to say it's because of me.
Mhm.
Listen.
I think too, it's like, yes, you were made and bred to be the provider. I get it. But it's like that Iman Shumpert thing that I posted the other day.
Yes, I've seen it. Mhm.
They're not looking for our money. I know that. You're looking
Right.
for that nurturer, that partner, that person that you don't have to worry about when you come home, you know, that the house is being taken. Then treat me like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Create
You're
a
not
space
Yeah.
to where I feel confident in your consistency, in your pursuit of me, of your vision, not just for your own life, but for the relationship.
Right.
So how you are a visionary in your business and you're the king of whatever, you know, entrepreneur niche that you have, but yet you have no vision and
Foresight at
path
all.
and goal for your relationship
Right.
with me. You want to go with the flow.
Dead
Sir,
fish
you-
go with a flow too,
Exactly.
honey. And I ain't dead.
Like,
I'm
no
just
foresight.
seeing where things go. I don't want to force
But I think
anything.
that is a
Women-
mind thing. And
women
they
can't
are
submit
allowed
to
to
that.
play that on
Yeah.
But
women.
it's also ego. We sit
Yeah.
in ego in relationships often. We're trying to have pissing contests with one another,
Mhm.
and whose ego is bigger than the other. And it's like, why can't we both be bosses in our own
Right.
respects?
But then
in
we
our
both have to
relationship?
be self-aware.
That's true.
So instead of the projection, like I know a man is supposed to be a provider. I know that. I expect my man to be that. I know what, and I think the misconception too is women need to understand that there are gender roles. If you want a man in a relationship, you are going to have to play into a gender role.
right, a
In some form
masculine,
of fashion.
a
Yeah.
masculine.
Like
Yeah.
you can't be the one making the rules, running the house, doing all this. And sometimes you're gonna have to follow even if he's wrong.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
And
that-
you can't be
have to-
like,
yeah,
you
you
wrong,
have
I'm
to
not
work on
going
that
to,
one.
you know?
Yes.
You have to
Yeah.
follow because just
Yeah.
like your employees,
Yeah.
they gotta make mistakes.
Absolutely.
You're not gonna stand
You
over
are
your
correct.
legal assistant's shoulder and be like, girl, you didn't dot that I. Girl, you ain't cross that T.
No, you're right.
You know, you're gonna let that come through and you're gonna say, hey baby, I need you to proofread this again. And I think that as women, especially alphas, we don't let our men make mistakes.
That's
Because
good.
you
I
think,
feel like you
but
do
I'm
so
supposed to
for me.
support you, I'm
Right.
supposed to do
But
this.
we
And it's like,
expect perfection out of everybody but
Including-
ourselves, though.
right,
Sometimes we give ourselves more grace than we do other people, and that's
Right.
unfair.
it
And I
is.
think that we need to give more people grace, just all together.
Right.
Like, it's super important to have people not just
Hold
at your
each other
level,
accountable.
but higher than your level to have like what you want, so they can be like, hey, you're not doing what you need
Yeah.
to do.
And if you're around people that have a lot of money and you're a man, and your homeboy's not putting you on his team to make money,
You need a new
he don't want you
homeboy.
there to be
Yeah,
on his
exactly.
level.
You need a
Yeah.
new homeboy.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so I think people need to really be self-aware in every intentional relationship.
Mhm.
Are we gonna be friends with intention? Are we dating with intention? Like, what am I getting from this person? Do I keep them here, or can I allow you to come here?
Yeah.
You need to know what buckets to put the person in.
Yeah.
And
That's
I'm
super
like,
important.
not a big bucket person. I just sometimes feel like it's not worth it. Like the friendship's not worth it to me.
Yeah.
What we gonna talk about?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want you to have my number. I don't want you like let's keep it through Instagram, okay? You know, like
Or
people
not.
like
Tap
that.
tap.
Double tap scroll, you know? So I think self-awareness is something that both men and women, because as fathers, they need to start making their sons more self-aware too.
Yeah.
And they need to start equipping their sons with the knowledge that it's okay to be emotionally connected to who you are,
Yes.
so you can
Yeah.
emotionally connect
And
to somebody
communicate
else.
your emotions.
Yes.
Know
Yes.
how to communicate
But
your
men
emotions.
are not self-aware, because the only thing in a man's mind, to me, this may not be, to me is men are the providers. Men are the providers. Men are the providers. We are the providers. We run the business. We run the family. We run this. Okay, but what else?
Right.
That's where we are now.
Right.
That's where dating has taken a shift now. That's where you see
Shifted.
more women single for long years, because it's like, now what?
Because we don't need.
Now what?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So that will kind of sum up a little bit of, this topic, and I'm sure we'll touch on it again in other episodes.
Yes.
But I think the moral of this story is like, fully be self-aware, men, women,
Yes,
parents,
absolutely.
be self-aware, because you're going to need to fully understand who you are in order to be able to accomplish relationships, friendships, parenting, everything. Like, you have to be so confident in who you are, but that does not come with finding fulfillment in another person.
Right.
Not your friends, not your lovers. It comes with fulfillment within self. And some things that people need to do is meditate, self-reflect. These are the darkest times of my life. Let me journal and write.
Yeah.
I was gonna say
Where,
journaling.
like
really
I write my
helps
prayers
me.
down every day.
Yeah.
Let me journal. That doesn't make you weak.
Right.
It makes you stronger to know and recognize and self-reflect. Like, I was tripping at this time in my life when I allowed these things to come and take over,
Mhm.
So I think a lot of that comes with working on self emotionally first, spiritually,
Yeah.
and then you won't even have to really too much worry about physically, because you've already, inside is what matters. Inside
Right.
is going to control how you feel and how you look on the outside.
And being aware helps you love those parts, right? Because
Right.
also part of the conversation was self-love. So
Mhm.
being aware of your shortcomings or your lessons, or where you need to improve and where you're already healed, that allows you to say, okay, I really love this about myself,
Yeah.
or I'm going to let myself love and forgive myself for this mistake, because I know I'm going to do better.
Yes.
So you need
You
one to
gotta
have
give
the other.
grace.
Yes.
Yes.
absolutely,
Grace.
absolutely.
Well, I thank you guys for
Thank
coming
you.
on and touching on this topic. We have probably a lot more in store. You know that I do a lot of mentorships and things like that, and you guys as well, so I'm sure we'll connect. For everybody out there, we'd like to say thank you so much to Jack Daniels and Herradura, my sponsors, like always. They're amazing. You guys make sure that you tune in every Tuesday on iTunes, Spotify, Pandora, and YouTube. Thank you, ladies, for being my guests.
Thank you.
Again, you can find them on Instagram platforms. You can find me, KP, on the mic. It's every Tuesday. KP out.